Hey everyone, it's Kale from Scud Style, making another video for you today. And today the topic of this video, I've kind of been putting it off for a little bit, but doing more research and things on it, but I want to kind of share a snapshot of my stance on this right now. But today's video is about human hair. And as you can see, I have been growing my hair out. If anyone has seen earlier videos of me or knows me from the past or has had face-to-face interactions any time before this year, 2016, know that I've never kind of had a beard. I've never grown my hair super long. And there's a reason why I'm doing it. There's a reason why this is kind of going on right now. And so I want to dedicate a video right now to this and why I'm doing it. Some thoughts. There's not that much science out there on this right now that I could find. There's not that much really hard evidence either way. I've gone back and forth with a few different people, a couple well-known endocrinologists and things like that, who don't really think it has much of a bearing in science right now. But I want to relate kind of my personal experience and my personal experiment with it so that I can kind of, as an avid self-experimenter and researcher and lover of all things different and out there, I wanted to check it out for myself, and I wanted to see what would happen and notice from my experience how it kind of works. So basically, there's several different reasons why people would say there's benefit to not cutting your hair, and for men that includes facial hair and things like that. Pretty much hair on your body. So the basic argument is that all of our hair is there for a reason. It grows for a reason, it grows to a specific length, and then it stops when it reaches a length that it's kind of predetermined genetically to be optimal at for your body, for your organism. And so I have always been kind of in an upbringing and other things and social pressures and authority figures and maybe teachers or jobs or schools or, you're not allowed to have this or that. I'm not really in that place right now, so I'm able to actually experiment with this for the first time, and I'm also more comfortable with myself than I ever have been. So for the pursuit of this, I'm willing to maybe see what it's like to be scruffy for a while. So one of the basic ideas is that hair is actually an exterior extension of your nervous system, and that it actually serves as a form of antenna. And there's actually certain types of energy photography, Kirlian photography, that when taken around the hair, there's actually much, much more energy output for someone who has a lot of hair than someone who has little or no hair. So there is a direct, based on that new field of photography, where you can actually see the energy around the hair and that kind of output. So it can kind of function as both an antenna, a receptor, and also gives off energy and transmits it as well. Again, not rock solid right now, but that's kind of an interesting tidbit. There are some studies floating around. I'm not sure if how rock solid they are, but anecdotally at least, it's pretty easy to find that there was a study kind of done an investigation rather, where during the Vietnam War, Americans sought out Native Americans who were known to have kind of supernatural, excellent tracking skills. And so they would recruit them, and they'd do very, very well on tracking tests, almost strangely well. And then they'd enlist them and recruit them, and then their hair would be cut off with the typical military short haircut, and they'd come back to do the tracking and they wouldn't be able to. And time again, those scouters would say, I feel like I've lost my ability to I feel like I've lost my intuition, my sensory ability, I feel like I've lost my antenna. And they just scored more poorly, and then they did that's where this investigation kind of went in. The military wanted to kind of investigate why that was the case. And again, this might be true, it might not be true, but it's interesting food for thought. And that's one of the bases of my experiment as someone who deals a lot with intuition and trying to get to a hard separation between my analytical state of mind and my intuitive and clairvoyant state of mind. I did a year of training as a clairvoyant, and it's a very interesting different space. And so my last 3 to 4 months of my training, I hadn't cut my hair. And it's still not super long. It's still getting longer as far as I can tell. Definitely the hair on top of my head's getting longer. I'm not sure how much longer my beard is going to get. Facial hair for me isn't something that it's just naturally robust. This has been the entire year so far, and with the light it's kind of hard to see because it is blonde. But that's kind of that school of thought. And for me, experientially, I have noticed up to this point now, because like I said, I started this, I haven't shaved since December 31st, 2015. So all of 2016 has been no shave 2016, no trimming, no this or that, no anything. I haven't touched it. And I've noticed some definite, unarguable degree, trying to be as unbiased and objective as I can, of better intuition and better kind of sensory everything. But it's subtle, and I still want more time to be able to make that decision. The other thing that I've noticed is, well, I guess one thing to point out is feeling with your hair. I mean, you can feel when someone touches your hair. You can feel like when someone just brushes the tip of one of your hairs, you can feel it. So it would make sense that having those externally on your body instead of having them cut off, you can feel things like the wind, you can feel things like changes of temperature, changes of pressure, you can feel little vibrations, which are very, very subtle, but your hair can kind of give you an edge to pick that up, where normally without that extra antenna, you wouldn't be able to. And that can be vibrations given off by people, by sounds, by light. It's all energy, it's all vibration. So that's basically where I'm coming from. I wanted to really test out that theory as a clairvoyant, as a poker player, as someone who is very into authentic relating and wanting to kind of be able to gauge the emotional temperature of a room, of other people, be authentic, be genuine. I want to be able to be in touch as much as I can with those types of things. And so far, I've gotten positive results. I do think there's a correlation. I don't know how massive or not it is, and I'm going to definitely check back with this. But that's kind of the basic thing I'm going off of. There are other reasons I am doing this. There's also, talking about authenticity and things like that, there's also a anti-egoic reason for me doing this, getting kind of out of a vanity state as much as I possibly can, being kind of like raw and unfiltered. I wash my hair, but I don't, I'm not styling it, I'm not cutting it, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just there is kind of an interesting and satisfactory component to this where it's like, this is how, I've never seen myself like this before, and I've been here for a while, and this is kind of my raw evolutionary design based on what I'm given. So I not always cutting off before I get to this point or the next. It's like you never really know what kind of hair growing potential you have, how it affects you, this and that, if you never really experiment for yourself and get to that point. And that ties into just the final kind of piece of, again, not super scientific, and this is where I've corresponded with Ray Pete briefly, Dr. Ray Pete, about kind of hair and how many raw materials from your body it takes to create. And if it were to go to its final length and stop needing to pour raw materials into it at such an expensive rate, would it save your body some processing energy? Would it, in layman's terms anyway, would that kind of like blood being drawn? Your body has to take a lot more stuff from food to kind of build that blood supply back up. With hair, obviously I don't think it's as big of a degree, but your body uses lots of collagen and vitamins and minerals and raw materials to really build and produce the hair and to put that externally outside of your skin, your dermis and your epidermis and things like that, so that it is exposed outside of those. How much energy and raw materials from your body is really being used to contribute to that cycle, and how much energy is that costing you? Or is there a more metabolic benefit of having that all kind of in place and your body being able to focus more on immune support and high cellular respiration output and things like that, as opposed to creating hair because you keep cutting it off and it's growing back. Same with nails to some degree, but they are different in my research. So anyway, that's all I kind of wanted to say on this video. Just a quick snapshot of my experience and why I'm doing it. Hope you enjoyed that and it makes sense, and I'll check in another time to update. Thanks.